The year 1939 marked the beginning of a global catastrophe. This was World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. From the bustling cities of Europe to the remote islands of the Pacific, no corner of the globe was spared. Over 6 long years, the fate of humanity hung in the balance as nations clashed. Tanks rumbled across battlefields while airplanes rained fire from above. In the end, over 70 million lives were lost. World War II was a clash of ideologies, a struggle for power, and a testament to the horrors humanity can inflict. Yet, amidst the darkness, there were stories of incredible courage, resilience, and sacrifice. Ordinary men and women rose to extraordinary heights, displaying bravery and compassion. This is their story, a story that must never be forgotten. The seeds of World War II were sown in the ashes of its predecessor. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to ensure peace, instead fostered resentment and instability. Germany, burdened by crippling reparations and territorial losses, became a breeding ground for extremism. Amidst this turmoil, a charismatic and ruthless leader emerged: Adolf Hitler. Fueled by nationalist fervor and a desire for revenge, Hitler's Nazi Party exploited the widespread economic hardship. Across Europe, the wounds of World War I were still raw. The global economic depression further exacerbated tensions. In Italy, Benito Mussolini's fascist regime rose to power, promising strength and stability. Similarly, Japan, driven by militaristic ambitions, embarked on a path of aggression in Asia. Despite the growing threat, many clung to the hope that war could be averted. However, their hopes were shattered on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. As the fires of war spread, the world divided into 2 armed camps, the Axis powers and the Allied powers. Germany, Italy, and Japan, united by their expansionist ambitions, formed the Axis. On the other side stood the Allied powers, a coalition of nations determined to resist Axis aggression. Great Britain, led by Winston Churchill, stood defiant against Nazi Germany. France, initially overwhelmed by the German Blitzkrieg, would later play a crucial role in the liberation of Europe. The Soviet Union joined the Allied cause after being invaded by Germany in 1941. The United States was drawn into the conflict after the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan on December 7, 1941. World War II was a truly global conflict, with battles raging across continents. The war became a clash not only of armies but also of ideologies. Section 4. Turning Tides, from Blitzkrieg to D-Day. The early years of the war saw a string of stunning Axis victories. Germany's Blitzkrieg tactics, emphasizing speed and overwhelming force, proved devastatingly effective. Poland fell in a matter of weeks. Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France soon followed. The Battle of Britain became a turning point in the war. The Royal Air Force, though outnumbered, fought bravely against the Luftwaffe, foiling Hitler's plans for an invasion of Britain. In June 1941, Hitler launched a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. The German army, initially successful, was eventually bogged down in a brutal war of attrition. The tide of the war began to turn in 1942. The United States, fully engaged after Pearl Harbor, poured its industrial might and military resources into the fight. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, the largest amphibious invasion in history, took place as Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France. Section 5. Unthinkable Atrocities, the Darkest Chapter. Amidst the horrors of World War II, one atrocity stands out for its sheer barbarity: the Holocaust. Driven by a twisted ideology rooted in racial hatred, the Nazi regime systematically murdered 6 million Jews across German-occupied Europe. Jews were rounded up, stripped of their possessions, and deported to concentration camps. These camps, such as Auschwitz-Birkenau, became symbols of Nazi cruelty and genocide. Prisoners were subjected to starvation, torture, forced labor, and mass extermination in gas chambers. The Holocaust was a crime against humanity on an unprecedented scale. In the aftermath of the war, the victorious Allies held war crimes trials in Nuremberg, Germany. The Nuremberg trials established the precedent that individuals could be held responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Section 6. A World Transformed, Legacy of the Cataclysm. By 1945, the Axis powers were on the verge of collapse. Soviet forces advancing from the east closed in on Berlin. In the Pacific, the United States launched a series of devastating bombing raids on Japanese cities. On April 30, 1945, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker in Berlin, as Soviet forces stormed the city. Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 7, 1945, marking the end of the war in Europe. However, the war in the Pacific raged on. In a desperate attempt to force Japan's surrender, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation caused by these bombs, coupled with the Soviet Union's declaration of war on Japan, finally forced Japan to surrender on August 15, 1945. World War II left an indelible mark on the world, claiming the lives of an estimated 70 to 85 million people. The United Nations was formed in 1945 with the goal of preventing future wars and promoting international cooperation. The legacy of World War II is a complex one, a mix of triumph and tragedy, of lessons learned and questions that continue to haunt us today.